guessing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL. When things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, Buggy like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big King and the guys. Where we have great talk. Yeah, just getting set up, fam. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in the live, man. Much love to the fam. We in this thing, man, having a little technical difficulties, but hey, we up in this thing. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being patient. We in this thing. Let's do it again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fan. We up in this thing. Saints tied it up yesterday. Second half of the game, it was a lot more respectable, better. We handled the business that we needed to handle, and the Saints took care of it, and we handled up. So we'll cover that. We'll talk about a lot of things today. The bubble watch, in terms of what players makes it, who doesn't make it. We'll go over that. We'll also talk about Trey Hendrickson, potential trade. We'll go over that. We'll also talk about Isaiah Foskey, the snowman, slow man, whatever you want to call him. We'll discuss that. We'll also talk about Mr. Cesar Ruiz. We'll cover that as well. And, of course, the trade that we talked about late on last stream. It happened on Friday afternoon on our Friday stream, man, where the Saints pulled the trade off. They got rid of Saunders for Luke Fortner. And, man, I've been just doing research on Fortner. People been hitting the broadcasts up, man. They've been talking about what kind of player in their assessment is Luke Fortner. To them, and, man, listen. I was seeing all kind of comments, man. I was trying to see if I could find y'all one particular comment where the guy was a Jaguar supporter, and he basically kind of talked about, good riddance and this sort of stuff. So, I'm gonna try to find that comment so I can read it to you, man, because I really enjoyed the comment, because it was something like a lot of the great Saint think tank will be talking about, dealing with, talk about some of these players. Like, how some people, and they just be trying to be nice. They be trying to be nice, and they'll say to the fam, hey, man, this guy would be good for you. He would be an awesome player for you. Oh, man, this guy, he's going to be a good player. He's such and such. He does this, that, and the third. They kind of soft shoe it a bit. They kind of, give you the game. They kind of tell people stuff, and then, you be like, oh, okay, you got a good player there. Nah, shit. Now, some of these people, have y'all been reading some of these comments that we've been getting on? One in particular, This is what one. I'm gonna shout out this man. His name is Jay Shupp, 5971. Jay Shupp, 5971 says, as a Jaguar supporter, good luck. Luke Fortner was god awful for us. He lunges and trips over his own feet. He spends more time on the ground than he does upright. He severely lacks strength and balance. Maybe he does better for you. Personally, I am so happy he's gone. He had like about 7 or 8 O's on the end of that thing. And I was like, damn. You know? But yeah, man, listen. Now listen. Colin Saunders wasn't tripping over his own feet. Colin Saunders was actually backflipping and doing all this other stuff. But, you know, it wasn't what we paid for. We wasn't paying what we got from Colin Saunders the last couple of years wasn't what we wanted to get. It was way lower than what we anticipated. Like this guy, him and Shepard was supposed to come in here and be be as good as what David Onyemata and King Tut was. You know, Shy Tuttle. You're supposed to be on that line. It was not even close. But Luke Fortner, regardless of what the commenter said, Luke Fortner is still better than any backup center that we currently have. Now is he better than one of our young guns that we like a lot? You know, I don't know if he's better than Torrey Simpkins. Torrey Simpkins is a young offensive lineman who has a versatility. He has a do-it-all spirit. I like how he plays. He plays head and shoulders above the rest of the backups. Like when you notice him, you see him and it's like, man, did y'all see Torrey Selly, man, he blocked one dude on the right side, then went on to the left side and blocked the other dude. That type of get up and go was super popular. You'll notice that sort of thing. So I was very happy, to say the least, when Torrey Selly Simpkins stepped out and made himself present in the Who Dat Nation, man. But yeah, this is a trade, man, and we can go over it right here for those who have not heard. If you was vacationing under a rock or whatever it was, and you don't know, the Saints made a trade yesterday. The Saints acquired offensive lineman, he's a center, Luke Fortner from the Jags in exchange for defensive tackle Colin Saunders. Now listen, Colin Saunders was going to get cut anyway. So really, the Saints really haven't hurt themselves in any kind of way. They were going to cut Colin Saunders, just like they might cut Shepard. It's over with for some of these guys. Like some of these players that were acquired in the Dennis Allen era might not be what we are looking for in the Kellen Moore era or in the defense of Coach Staley. Making a change from the 43 to the 34, some of these guys might not be the right fit. So you see, they were astute enough to get something for Saunders, and Fortner was a guy, regardless of to the chagrin or really to the glory, however you look at it, of the commenter about Fortner, is that he's this is the guy. So anyway, they bring him in here. So they announced that they acquired the man, player for a player situation, 6'4", 307 pounds, 4th year NFL lineman. He was a 3rd round pick back in, what was it? He was a third. Hold on. Let me just start right here. NFL veteran who was originally selected in the 3rd round, 65th by the Jags out of Kentucky in 3 seasons with the Jags. The Ohio native played in 51 games and started 34 games. Okay. In college, Fortner played 55 career games and had 36 straight starts for the Kentucky Wildcats. He was elected as team captain and was second team all ACC selection. So perhaps it's just one of these situations where Fortner just hadn't had the proper leadership. And let's just be kind of honest. The Jacksonville Jaguars haven't been the most consistent team in developing talent. Let's just be honest. No disrespect to the Jaguar Nation, but y'all know y'all been struggling over there for a long time. Ever since y'all got that coach over there, they've been struggling up a storm. So can the Saints take Fortner and turn him into a decent offensive line? Like I said, Will Clapp got hurt. Torrey Simpkins is backing him up. We added Mike Penasowicz, I won't say the man's name is, to the mix, but he's a UFL all-star. He's a UFL all-star, but that don't necessarily mean he's going to be NFL all-star. It's different levels to this, but he has a can-do spirit as well. We also see him in the game. He had a false start, I wanted to say, so he's still learning the ropes. So I'm encouraged with Torrey Simpkins and this new character, Mike Penasowicz, they added in from the UFL. I did watch his tape, and I do like his tape, so perhaps he will be a decent backup if he makes the cut. And then, of course, you look at Fortner. Fortner coming in, straight trade for a trade, is definitely going to be the center for the Saints. And is that an upgrade over Will Clapp? I don't know. I said, man, we need some veterans, and that's what the hell they doing. They said there's some veterans. You ask for it, and the Saints say, man, let's go ahead on and just get these damn people what they're looking for. They wanted a veteran, let's go ahead and get them veteran. Shout out to Daniel Williams for being a YouTube member, for joining the Great Saint Think Tank on YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Appreciate you, sir, for your membership. Much love, fam. Appreciate you. Y'all welcome in Mr. Daniel. All right, anyway, much love to all y'all guys. I know starting off at little tech issues, but big ups to everybody in the stream. I see you. What's up, Sonia? What's up, my girl Deborah's in this thing? Shout out to the queen. She up in this thing, so you know it's big time. Pelicans, Nola, brother Byron. Shout out to y'all. Good to see y'all in here as well. Good to see you. OG Jerry. My brother Jerry's in this thing as well. Good to see y'all, man. King Chosen. Well, what's up, my brother? Much love. Thank you. All right. Brother Adrian says, what's up, Q? I think the trade for an experienced center is great. The key to the offensive line is the center. I hate to see Saunders go, but a smart chess move by the head coach. Indeed, a player for a player. You was going to cut Khalen Saunders. He was going to cut Big Bink, because when they brought in when you have an influx of bringing all these defensive players in, let's just be honest. They brought in all these people. We seen Bullard and Martin and all these other cats that they brought in. You knew somebody wasn't going to make. You're not going to bring in all these defensive linemen for them to keep their original team. They were looking for something else. And Khalen Saunders gets traded. Nate Shepard's probably not going to make the cut either. So, we're going to see how it folds. So big ups to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Bullet Family Travel Vlog was popping. Good to see you, Mr. Fire D, Brother Wallace. Brother Wallace said, who that? What's up, fam? Appreciate you, bro. What's up, Desi? Shout out to Desi. Mr. O, big up, says after a long day of school, it's time for Big Q and the Who Dat. Shout out, fam. Yeah, man. Long day of school. The school season just kicking off, brother. Gather. It's gonna be a long season. What's up, Jamaica? Shout out to Jamaica. Much love. Appreciate you for being here as well. Brother Gundam's in this thing as well. Rocking with the coma. Brother Gundam's always in the building. King Eternal. You mean like Jake Hayner? Yes. All right. Shout out once again, Brother Daniel. All right, Deborah. All right. So anyway, big ups. What's up, Brother Gregory? How you doing, sir? He'll fit right. He'll fit right on in with the rest of the linemen. It's a running gag, but we'll just have to see how it goes. What's up, Kathleen? Shout out to Kathleen. Appreciate you for being all the queens in the building. What's up, Pammy? We cannot forget Pammy, because Pammy is important. Good to see my girl Pammy. She is in the building. Shout out to the Queen Pammy. Let's get that understood. Hemisphere says, if this guy is as bad as he says, then why trade him? Bro, listen. You know, now it'll be a thing about who wins the trades. You can never determine it for certain, right? A player might have not been as good with another team because the system, the coaches, wasn't pushing him to be as great as he could have been. Maybe the change of coaches, the change of scenery gives the players an opportunity to kind of rebrand themselves, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the coaches could communicate with Fortner. Maybe he can find his new motivation to do better. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting because I was doing reports. I was doing some research on him. I was looking at various reports. I was looking at the scouting reports. People was messaging me, and I know for a fact that when people talk about a player, they usually give it a positive breakdown on that player, right? We've seen that before, but there's always the opposite. There's always going to be another person that's going to be like, okay, I heard that, but watch this. There is absolutely no reason. I'm saying the commenter, I believe him 100% because the way in the detailedness of his breakdown from his strength, his footwork, this sort of thing. Even to the fact that you can see he started a certain amount of games, but you can see he lost favor with the team. And of course, like I said, it's Jacksonville, so you can take that high forever it's worth. But in the end, all I can say is, man, he's here now, and like I say, he's the most experienced backup center we have. So we'll have to make it do what it do. All right, shout out Bev, shout out to you as well. All right, a lot of family members. Jack says it sound. Yeah, these backups, man. Hey, all right. What's up, H Town? How you doing, sir? He said, good trade because Clapp is not the future. No, he was kind of like Will. I like Will Clapp. He's a local guy. Started at Brother Martin. That was a local school. Then he went to LSU and then went to the Saints. That's like a local, you're a football person. That's like nirvana. That's like heaven. That's like, Shambhala or something. You start from Brother Martin, which is a local private school in the New Orleans area. Brother Martin, go to LSU. That's like New Orleans, Louisiana, true and true. That's the path that very few take. They go from this, that, and the third, you see. I think Foster Monroe did the same thing. I think Foster's from the city. He went to LA. I think Foster went to LSU. Then he got drafted by the Raiders, but he ultimately came home. So that's like a thing that people don't live. Tyrann Mathieu recently do. It's like a road that only a handful of them do. Tyrann Mathieu did that. He was a local guy, local kid, went to LSU, was awesome, got drafted by Arizona, then went to Texans and went to Chiefs and then ended up back home with the Saints, and he retired, this prior to the training camp this year. So he did the path. So it's like it's a select group of them that does that. So that's very respected. But he wasn't the answer. Not even close. But the Saints, I don't know how good they're looking, to be honest with you. What's up, Pete? Shout out to you. Joe Gidry, much love, fam. Good to see y'all in the stream as well. Big ups to everybody, man. I hope I got everybody. What's up, Joseph? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Tuck, what's up, Tuck? Big ups to Tuck. Did they put Saunders butt on the Jag bus to Jacksonville? See ya. I'll give it a B++. Thank you, fam. Appreciate you. All right. Each town say I understand it's a local kid. It is, bro. I know, but it's a business. I get what you're saying. What's up, Joe? Joe Blow, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you as well. All right. Yeah. She says, yeah, me too, Desi. She said, I love the Tigers. Speaking Tigers, they are dragging Angel Reese. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they need to leave poor Angel alone. Shaq threatened to beat somebody ass over Angel Reese. What was that, RG3 talking mess? You got to be careful. You got to be careful, especially when you're talking mess on some people You know what I'm saying? Shaq had enough of that, man. He threatened to get at him. And I don't think Shaq kidding either. Gregory says, hey, in all seriousness, are you currently concerned? All right. He said, hey, okay, Q, that's all good, brother. But listen, are you at least concerned about the depth of the levels of the team? How do we get this endless cycle of scouting talent? How do we get out of this? Well, I mean, it takes vision. It takes decision makers that know what they're doing. Me personally, like I said this before, I think the Saints are heading in the right direction. I really do. I don't think we get there overnight. You know, I don't think we get there overnight, but I do think that we are headed in the right directions as an organization. The Saints have done a good job over the years of scouting talent. They really have. They found some really good players and have drafted some really good players, but they did not complete the process. Because you can scout. First, scouting just means you're looking, observing, taking notes. Then you select them, you draft them, bring them onto your team, sign the contract. And then the third part of the process is getting these guys into your system properly. And that's where the Saints have been struggling with drafted ones. Undrafted guys, they have been done. They do well because I think the undrafted guys have out-hearted the drafted. The undrafted guys have out-efforted and out-hearted the drafted guys. That's why we see so many of these undrafted guys make the team compared to their counterparts. The Saints have been long understood to be a destination for undrafted players. And that's just one of the reason was because the Saints do a wonderful job. They do an awesome job of drafting, finding the talent, but they have to complete the process by getting these guys into the system properly. Zach Bourne was a failure. Who else was the other guys? They had a bunch of them I can call out right now that were good players. They drafted the guys, but could not get them into the system properly. And that's the thing that we have issues with down here. Like Isaiah Foskey, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Like he was a Notre Dame superstar in many regards. He broke the all-time sack record for the University of Notre Dame. That's pretty big in the college football world because Notre Dame is seen as a very important school, university, especially in the college football world. But him coming here and not being able to get into a position to help the team and being outperformed by other people, that's on the Saints. The Trevor Penning thing is not good. Trevor Penning is underdeveloped. He still struggles with bad blocking technique. Cesar Ruiz. People say, who Q Penning? Because a lot of people don't know, are not paying attention to Cesar Ruiz. They give him a pass. It's a very interesting phenomenon that really needs to be studied by a local science community for real, because I don't see how he gets so much grace. Maybe it's the fact that they focus on Penning. The target is on Penning, so we don't look at Cesar Ruiz's really inconsistent up and down ass play. We don't. It's a lot of people don't do it. But see, he is a guy that has been given. I ain't gonna say being given, like, because he had to earn, he had to get in there and fight and do all of this thing. But he has received reps, a great deal of reps. He started a lot of games, and he's nowhere near being an all-pro guard. Nowhere near. But, nowhere near. And I'm like, why is he not better than what he is? Because you look at the tape, it's like the man is, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, you can see Eric McCoy do his thing. He's one of the greatest ones in the NFL in terms of the center, top 5, top 3 center in this here NFL. We see our young guns, Tali Fuaga and even Kelvin Banks Jr. They got temperament and their mentality is different. These are guys that they have a nasty streak, a mean streak, and the talent to back that up, and the intelligence to back that up. So it's not just muscle moving in a direction. It's mind, it's everything together. And that forms a good tandem, but people forget that Ruiz is not as good as he's supposed to be. So I think, I have some concerns at the depth, but the reality is, what's really striking is the whoever is going to be running the ones have struggled. Whether it's either quarterback has struggled with the ones. And we don't really see in the team or the start playing better until the ones come out, the twos go in. So is that something we need to do? I know we've been looking at the depth because we automatically know there shouldn't be a step back in development for a veteran offensive line, not including Talia Kelvin, because I think they'll be fine. But everybody else is 3 and 4 year veterans plus. Those guys should, regardless of who comes in at the offensive line coach, those guys should be ready to go. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we're looking at. So, certain positions do concern me. I don't like how the offensive line, the ones, in the limited action, we did see them in the preseason look. I don't like the fact that whoever runs the ones struggle and then the twos come in and they get it moving. I don't like that. I think that's something that we need to see changed, just to see if they can do it because, like I said, man, it's just something to pay attention to. But Greg, we appreciate that, man. All right. What's up, Uncle Who Dat? Shout out to you, my brother. He says, how's it hanging? I'm pulling for our Saints to win at least 4 games this season since they can only manage 5 last season. So, Uncle Who Dat, you went backwards -1, brother. All right. You said last 5 seasons. What'd you think, you? Oh, man. Said, bro, I can't go back 1 game, bro. I don't think this team, to be honest with you, I don't think they're worse than the Dennis Allen team they had last year. I think they worth a couple of games because Dennis Allen and Derek Carr are gone. Because it was the decision making of the head coaching last year that cost us close games. So I think taking them 2 gives us +2. I think we're actually better than 5. I would even say, if I had to go lowest, I would say 6 games. But I think 6 or 7 games, but I think we're better than 5 games straight up, All right, anyway, shout out to y'all. Good to see you, man. I hope got to everybody. Idlewild, what's up, Idlewild? Shout out to Idlewild from Lake Charles, baby. What's popping? Good to see you in here. Young Blood 46. I noticed the Falcons just released DJ Chark. Do you think the Saints should kick the tires on him? He's a big, fast wide. He is fast. And the former LSU guy, DJ Chark, was a beast at LSU. Not so much in the pros. He has not caught on. And it's a shame. I don't think they'll kick the tires on him, but who knows? Kellen Moore likes the track. He's building a track team right now. So DJ Chark can stretch him out, man. So, I like him. He's an LSU guy. What's up? It's Poppy 504 is in the building. Much love, fam. So anyway, let's get into the articles, man. Y'all do me a service. Hit that like button, man, as we get rolling along in the show. All right. So Saints, we talked about Mr. Fortner in the breakdown and what he's going to bring to the team. With the missing with Colin Saunders, but regardless or not, shout out to Bink Saunders. It was he was pretty cool. Having him here was kind of disappointing because we didn't get the aggressive defense of play that we wanted, but I still like Big Bink and wish him the best in Jacksonville. And we welcome Mr. Fortner into the fold as a new member of the Who Dat Nation. So we just gonna do it like that because we just good peoples. All right, anyway, let's move on to the next one. Shout out to the Who Dat Dish. As this is the stock report. Cesar Ruiz was the biggest black eye on the Saints' second preseason game. So it's good to see some of the family. Hey, listen, some of our really good reporters are picking up on the trend because they got eyes to see and tape to watch. They got all that going on. And that's the popping thing. It's like they call him a black eye. They're being really nice because there's some other nasty stuff you can call them. But at the end of the day, I guess black eye and Caesar salad is probably on the same line. But anyway, let's get right into it, man, and talk about what the writer is talking about here. The Saints are 2 games through the preseason, which means players have 1 more game to prove themselves. This is most important for the players on the roster bubble as they're looking to prove themselves to the Saints, but also other teams around the league. The Saints saw the same trend along the offensive line just a week ago. The struggles in the unit started with the starters, got better once the second unit came in. Same thing. We saw the same trend with the quarterbacks, where the second quarterback into the game had a better day. It'll be hard to make that decision after this week's action. There were a couple of players who did stand out, just not in a good way. Who was that player? Cesar Ruiz. Cesar Ruiz leads the biggest losers from the Saints' second preseason games. Cesar Ruiz, the last thing you want to hear when walking away from a preseason game as one of your starters is the biggest black eye on the 60 minutes of action. Unfortunately, that's what Cesar Ruiz was on Sunday. The Jags' defensive line was consistently in the backfield. It was often Ruiz who opened the door, almost like he paid for him. Like in history, y'all remember the story of the Vichy French? What happened with the guy from Germany back in the day? You know, the guy with the mustache, and how he got into France by way of the Vichy. Right? They didn't fire a shot. He paid them off with bars of gold. Weird, but the reality with Cesar Ruiz, and we're going to get into what the article's saying, but yeah, if you watch the tape, he's right. It's just inconsistent play. It's like he don't know what he's doing, and it was just really crazy. Anyway, let's get into it. All right. He says Ruiz was he was the only starting offensive lineman to stay on the field. That's true. After the second unit came into the game. And honestly, it's hard to question Kellen Moore's decision. No, he left him out there because he's seeing Ruiz was struggling. Right? If you're a starter, I can't look. If that guy need reps to get it together in a game, leave him out there. Because it probably, if Penning was healthy, I would have done the same thing for Penning. I can't have no struggling starters, especially on the offensive line. And then, of course, you get this far into the free agency period. You got one more preseason game to go before you a couple of weeks away from starting the regular season with these people. So at some point, you have to be like, man, we got to iron out these wrinkles and get this stuff together. So Ruiz, man, I've been telling y'all for a minute about Cesar's play, man. He is a problem. The struggles were understandable when facing the Jaguars' first unit. Unfortunately, those struggles continue when the second unit entered the game. I wouldn't even see that. He's a starter. He's supposed to be able to deal with starters. He's supposed to dominate the backups. That's how it goes. If you're a starter, you dominate. You play hard with the starters, and when you playing against backups, you dominate the backups. Right? It's supposed to be a disparity in levels between a starter and a backup. So if you're in there struggling against his backups, that could be an issue altogether. All right. So anyway, there were too much movement in the trenches and poor tackling when Hands gets on the runner. So he said the interior. Okay, hold on. Let me go back up because it dropped on. All right. So with so many moving parts, you need Ruiz to be steady. His performance today produced more doubt in his ability to do that. So he struggled in the run and passing game. So leaving him in there, the Saints wanted to kind of have him to iron out those wrinkles for Cesar Ruiz. And he's a guy you need to watch out for, not maybe as much as Trevor Penning, but notice that the guard position for the Saints is still something we have to watch out for because Cesar Ruiz is struggling. He out there, he missing reps. Sometimes he don't know who he's blocking. Guys to swim moving him. You know what I'm saying? It's not good. And hey, I've been telling y'all. Anyway, Saints backup interior defensive line. If tackling could be a part of this list, it would have. Since we can't point to the finger at the entire backup interior defensive line, the struggles were understandable when facing the Jags' first unit. Unfortunately, those struggles continue when the Jaguars' second unit entered the game. The interior defensive line was continuously pushed to the side or pushed back. This is purely in the run game. There was no pass rush either. But we can't slander the run defense enough for that for the time being. But there was just too much movement in the trenches and poor tackling when Hands did get on runners. They did remove the Saints. And instead of giving it to one person, he gave it to the Saints interior backup defensive lineman. And then, of course, final of the players that he made mention of that did poorly. Cam Akers. Akers didn't necessarily play poorly, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Velus Jones Jr. just looked better. Jones Jr. in particular had a couple of standout runs late in the fourth quarter and had the best run of the day. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a pair of notable catches and runs, and Akers did not stand out on the day when his biggest obstacle to the roster played well. His stock dropped out of circumstance. And indeed, now we did realize, and like I said, if we had to, some of these calls that you can make right now on, in terms of the running back room, like the hierarchy of the running back room, Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Velus Jones Jr. Now, Velus is a bit of a surprise in a good way because he's listed as a running back, but he has receiver speed. Now, he played wide receiver in college, but what makes Velus interesting is the fact that the Saints have found a role for him. Like he's the speedster running back. They throwing the passes down the line of scrimmage and setting up plays where he uses his speed to get there. He has some elusive ability. He could be used and he plays special teams, so he could be used as special teams. So it's starting to get down to it's like the Saints are going to keep 4 guys. And they'll keep the 4th guy because the 4th guy has to play special teams and Velus will play special teams. My 5 pick for the wide receivers is very easy. I think the Saints keep 5 wide receivers. We know the top 3 guys. I think Mason Tipton has done enough, and Dante Pettis has also done enough to solidify a spot. I don't think it's going to be any of the juniors, okay? The juniors, except for Velus Jones Jr., the rest of them juniors, Cedric Wilson Jr., Kevin Austin Jr., I don't think that they make it. They shouldn't make it. If you're going to keep 5 wide receivers, and more than likely probably will, it is going to be our top 3 guys. You know who they are. And then Mason Tipton. And then ultimately, you would keep Dante Pettis. Now, why Pettis? Because Pettis also plays special teams. He also contributes to the running attack. To the return game. So you would have Velus and Pettis as returners, right? They both serve in that capacity. So that would be my 5 guys who keep just throwing that in there. But some of these position groups, you can kind of solve them right now. The tight end group, not so much. The tight end group, a little harder to read. Even though I like how Trey Welch played, he made a really difficult catch in that fourth quarter. Even Michael Jacobson did some positive stuff. So it's kind of difficult to read it. Matavo, not so much. Kind of difficult reading that tight end room a little bit more, But anyway, y'all, what y'all think? Y'all let me know in the chat. All right, let's keep it moving, man. Let's move to this one. Shout out to NOLA.com. Times Picayune. They had a really good article written by Mr. Paris. He talked about 5 Saints who stood out in the preseason matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's look and see who them guys were. All right. Anyway, let's get into it. Saints sitting their entire starting defense, a few key offensive starters, and the 17 tie against the Jags. That created an opportunity for those on the bubble to step up and make their case for a roster spot. Several players took advantage of the extended playing time. Let's take a look at the performance that might mean for the 53-man roster when the cuts have to be made later on this month. Trayton Welch, tight end. Quarterback Tyler Shuck drew a deep ball where only Welch could get it, and the tight end delivered an impressive 28-yard contested catch. The moment was big for Welch, who is fighting for one of the spots behind Juwan Johnson. Coach Kellen Moore recently said Taysom Hill, knee, and Foster Moreau, who also has a knee issue, aren't close to practicing yet, so that increases Welch's chances of making the roster. We did realize that he did say that early on about him, but as we get close to the season, we'll get more of a accurate assessment. We also would start, once we get close to the regular season starting. Once the regular season started, we'll get injury reports on these players and maybe some more refined timelines on in terms of the injuries. What's up, J Sticks Jefferson? Shout out to you, man. 504 Core, I see you. What's up, Tamika? Shout out to Mika. What's up, Cap, man? I see you, brother. Shout out to you. Tim, what's up, Tim Dunn? Shout out to you. But yeah, that's one of the things that we're looking at. What's up, Ty? Big ups to Ty. All right, LP, what's up, brother? Thank y'all for being here. Hit the like button for me. What's up, Bishop? Bishop One Love, shout out. So this is the thing, the Trayton Welch did really well, but it's kind of between 3 or 4 guys, right? Matavo is on the back and he hadn't done enough. He's 6'8", 260 pounds, a big tight end with potential. Hadn't done enough. But do the Saints still keep him because he's drafted? They don't want to maybe risk waiving him for somebody else to claim him off the waiver wire. So we'll have to watch that and see how that works too. Now, in terms of the rest of the guys, when you talk about Trey Welch, you talk about Michael Jacobson, you talk about what's the other one? Jake Stahl, who hadn't really went sitting like, but Jake Stahl's the blocker. These other guys not really good blockers. I think he's a better of the tight end blockers. It's between those guys, those 4 guys, right? But Trey Welch and Michael Jacobson, for right now, making a strong case because they could very well just put the place when the season started. They can very well just put Taysom and Foster, short term IR, and bring them back later on. But like I said, I was anticipating Taysom Hill being ready right away. That would be awesome. But Foster Moreau, I thought he'd be a little closer. But we'll see moving forward. But yeah, the tight end position is very interesting, man. With Trey Welch, he did a really good job. But the Saints keep only 3 tight ends, and assuming Johnson and Stahl are ahead of him. And I think Jake Stahl is going to be the guy because, it's a part of his blocking scheme. None of these other guys are terrific blockers like that. Welch will have to beat out 7th-round rookie Matavo, a journeyman Michael Jacobson, and Seth Green. So if the Saints are keeping 4, and they could possibly keep 4, Juwan Johnson, Jake Stahl, the veteran blocker, and then maybe the young guy Matavo, and either a Welch, Jacobson, or Seth Green. Right now, I would say Welch is leading the battle, even though Michael Jacobson right there, they're really dueling it out. But Welch, we'll see what happens in the final game. Like I said, the tight end is a little harder to read. Isaiah Stallbird stand out on special teams. He made another impact on punt coverage against the Jags, absolutely whacking Austin Tremmel at the point of the catch. The Saints have a history of keeping players whose main job is to contribute in that area. See safety JT Gray. So could Stallbird be the next to do so? Listen, Isaiah Stallbird has made a lot of plays. A lot of there's a couple of young linebackers that really I'm just so happy about because Demario Davis is retiring. Well, I don't know if he's retiring, but his contract is up with the Saints after this year. You have Pete Werner, who, he played a full season, but Pete Werner has still had issues staying healthy for a full season. So with that being said, we're going to need guys to back up these guys. Having Danny Stutzman, having Isaiah Stallbird, Jalen Ford, those guys have been awesome. Nephi Sewell, they can play special teams as well. So Isaiah Stallbird, man, he been really doing well for the Saints, man. If the Saints keep 5 backers, he'll likely have to beat out Nephi Sewell and Jalen Ford for the last spot. Sewell and Ford are also known for their special teams contribution. I know Jalen Ford gonna make the team, So it'll be a battle between Stallbird. If it's a 5-man thing, I guess it would be that. But, maybe they keep 6. I don't know. We'll see. Also known for their special teams contribution, making it a tough choice. Still, Stallbird played 83% of the team's special team snaps last week. So he'll be getting along by the coaching staff. Yeah, it's going to maybe come down to Stallbird and Nephi Sewell. Those guys really been cutting it up. All right, and Kendre Miller, running back on the surface. Kendre Miller's final stat, 21 yards on 6 carries, was nothing special, but it was good to see the second-year back run hard. He had 13-yard gain on the 3rd down, had another long carry that negated a holding penalty. So he did real. Just as notable was Miller's usage. He was the Saints starting running back with Elvin resting, and he took most of the snaps on 3 drives. Early in camp, Miller was occasionally 3rd or 4th in the pecking order. Lately, he's been consistent back behind Kamara, a good sign that his job won't be in jeopardy. Indeed, and that's the great thing about we talked about Miller, because he was a guy that a lot of people talked about. And could Kendre Miller, could he, return to his TCU form? Like he was the guy that was Mr. Everything, and he missed a lot of time with injuries. That's the bad side. The good side is that he seems to have gotten his body back. He lost about 10 pounds. He was proud of that. You can see his energy level was changed. His power, it's just good to see Kendre Miller healthy and running with confidence, catching the ball and all that kind of stuff. And he looks every bit of the part. He just needs to keep that going. Really positive to see Kendre Miller. And of course, Jalen Ford. Up until Ford's interception on Nick Mullins, which was really cool. He read that, jumped up, pulled it down like he was a wide receiver. The Jaguars quarterback had been dicing the Saints defenses. They completed 21 of their first 26 passes before it was a 2024 fifth-round pick out of Texas. He had over 200 tackles for his college career, like 200 plus in 2 years. The guy had like 220-something tackles, so he was a force at the University of Texas. They did not make a mistake when they drafted Jalen Ford. Big play, he forced a turnover. As previously mentioned, Ford is in the mix in a tight end linebacker battle, but he has now stacked 2 solid weeks in a row, something he rarely did in his injury-plagued rookie season. So Jalen Ford showed it to us last year in spurts. And the right is right, he was hurt. But when he was healthy, he showed it to you in spurts in training camp and in preseason last year. This year, he's healthy. Kendre is healthy, and these draft picks from 20. They handle their business. So Jalen Ford, a lot of positive. And then finally, Mason Tipton. Increasingly, Tipton does not look like he's on the bubble, but the second-year wideout had another excellent day, drawing 45-yard pass interference penalty, hauling in a 45-yard bomb from Spencer Rattler. The explosives came 1 week after he secured a 54-yard touchdown against the Chargers. And on Sunday, Tipton had 100 yards on 6 catches, one more game than he did his entire season. So the rookie campaign of 99. Tipton is, like I said, man, I'm not surprised by nothing I see from Mason Tipton. We talked about Mason Tipton prior to the Saints drafting. We was doing the draft. I was saying the Saints should draft the kid. They took, I forgot who they took, but then we get to the undrafted area. The Saints picked up Mason Tipton out of Yale. I knew from last year, Mason Tipton, he had it. He can run routes, he can catch, and he is fast. That's something that people look at because we have a guy like, we got burners here. Rashid Shaheed can run. Mason Tipton can run. Dante Pettis can run. He has a good 40 time. Chris Olave can run. Brandon Cook still can turn it on. So we got Kellen's building the track team. But Mason Tipton is his temperament. You see how comfortable he is. He even mentioned that, talked about how comfortable he is. He was solid in training camp and preseason last year. When he got into the regular season, it just disappeared. So the kid went through his lumps and bumps and bruises in that rookie year, and it's just a whole nother energy with Mason Tipton. He has to be able to bring that energy or that consistency he's had in preseason into the regular season when he gets an opportunity. So that was pretty positive, man. See that? So that's some of the non-bubble guys the reporter is talking about, man. And listen, to be quite honest with you, I think every last one of those guys can make this team. Just to be honest with you. All right, now to keep it moving, let's talk about this gentleman right here, fam. Y'all hit the like button as we keep it rolling. Saints have the perfect opportunity to trade Isaiah Foskey if they can't convince one specific team they can fix him. Now, this is something that a lot of people talk about Isaiah Foskey, the snowman. I call him Snowman. People kind of call him the slow man. He's another undeveloped high draft pick for the New Orleans Saints, this time on the defensive side. This might be a shocker. The Saints might not get rid of Isaiah Foskey. They might not. We know that they've showed before the patience to deal with high draft picks, especially ones that's still on contract and cheap. And how many times we've seen in recent memory the Saints keep somebody that they drafted they should have gotten rid of or got rid of. Now, the thing is, usually kind of trade people that, people, in order to find a trade for the guy, somebody got to see his work, his work. Anybody is going to trade for the guy if they don't believe in the player. Now, we've seen Saunders get traded to the Jags for Fortner, but Saunders has a decent reputation around the league. not just his stop with the Saints, is also the Kansas City stuff to consider, right? That's not the case with Isaiah Foskey. How would you trade a player that's untradeable? They'll just play you patiently until you waive him, and then they'll go put the claim in for him. If they really wanted him, Isaiah hadn't showed anybody anything to earn a trade. But I know people say, "Q, you're gonna trade him for a Subway sandwich in a soda." I mean, who gonna give you that? A Subway sandwich and a Coke costs money. That shit ain't free. A bag of a half-eaten bag of potato chips still costs money. Who's gonna do that shit? So I mean, it's the trade for Isaiah Foskey. Trade him how? Who gonna want him? He got to show you. He got to show something. Somebody got to be ready to want to accept a trade for Foskey. And like I said, I'm just gonna put this out to the Who Dat Nation right now, because I do this from time to time. I'm gonna let y'all know that it could be a possibility that he won't be cut, and that he will be on this team the start of the regular season. Why, Q? Because he's cheap. He's a second-round draft pick, and they don't want to put those guys in the street. Think about some of the high picks before the Saints have had. They should have cut Peyton Turner. They should have cut Marcus Davenport. Did they cut him? They don't cut them high picks, the first, the seconds, and the guys. They don't get rid of them. They hold on to them to the last moment. It's a bad look for the Saints if they release a high pick. It's a bad look. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that they're gonna trade him. I'm not saying they're gonna keep him. All I'm telling you is I'm letting y'all know the history of the New Orleans Saints organization, that they tend to hold on to these players that they take high just a little longer, baby. They hold on to them. So, I mean, don't be surprised if you see him on the team instead of somebody else. You hear me? Just say it. In order to trade the guy, he has to have a tradable profile, meaning somebody has to see him as an asset. Now, right now, there are other guys that's out there on teams in free agency, on practice squads that are better than Isaiah Foskey. So he hadn't really done anything to separate himself. And like I said, I don't think the Saints turn him loose. And hey, man, this is the politics side of it, right? This is the political side of the football. When you say, okay, Q, the guy has underperformed. You're right. He has underperformed. He hadn't done a good job. But in the end, the political side of it, and you can talk up to Slick Mickey Loomis on this one, because that's going to be the guy that hold on to him. Hold on now, goddammit. Hold on, you guys, hold on. Foskey, the slow man. Hold on, I see what you're saying up there. That's wrong. Hold on. He ain't going anywhere, goddammit. I guarantee it. This coming from a guy that held on to Derek Carr. Like, Derek Carr was made of platinum. He wouldn't release Derek Carr, holding on for dear life to Derek Carr and all these other people that wasn't doing nothing for the organization. But like I said, man, I'm just letting y'all know, man, I've seen a lot of football, especially from the Saints. I'm just giving y'all a little game, baby, just a smidgen. Just a little game. All right, 504 Coach says Q. Foskey had identical stats 2 games straight. That takes a special player to do that. I'm right. Y'all know. What's up, T Dirty? Shout out to my boy T Dirty, man. He said they was out there playing keep away from Foskey. Yeah. Anthony said, you said the same thing about Jake Hayner. Hey, bro. Just am I right here? Am I right? Come on, Who Dat Nation. Come on. Like DA. Indeed. I'm just saying, y'all know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. This is the political side of football. How guys, like recently, like there was one, like I bring this guy up all the time. There was a guy that should have been released by the Saints, but they released another player that outplayed him and kept that guy on the team. Who is that player I am talking about currently? I want to see if y'all been, because we've been talking about this. Name me the player that the Saints released early in the offseason that shouldn't have been released, right? This year, 2025, that got released early on. The undrafted guy outplayed the drafted guy, outplayed him badly, but they kept the drafted guy. Who was that guy? Who was that guy? I'm just showing you that it's political. The draft picks, the drafted guys, that's why it is when they draft the guy, they are least likely to release the drafted guy versus the undrafted guy. They're least likely to release him. L-Dub got it. Anthony Orji, the undrafted linebacker. He was a defensive back turned linebacker. Came onto the Saints team. Anthony Orji was one of the best linebackers, the young best linebackers you had. He was better than Jalen Ford. He was out playing Nephi Sewell. He was flying to the ball making. He was playing special teams well when they was giving him opportunities to come in the game and start. Anthony Orji was lighting it up. He was lighting it up and he was cheap. They put Anthony Orji, they released Anthony Orji, put him in the street for DeMarco Jackson. To keep DeMarco Jackson, who didn't do a damn thing. Why? Because DeMarco Jackson was drafted. They protect the draft picks more than the undrafted guys. They should have put Davenport in the street or traded him. They should have put Peyton Turner in the street for or whatever. But they didn't do it because they don't like the optics of when they fail, especially when it's a high pick. Foskey's a second round pick. They're not, yeah. So that's what I'm saying at this end. I'm just letting y'all know. Y'all know. He got signed by somebody. I forgot who it was. Y'all look it up for me. He was a Steph says because he was not good. He was not. Anthony Orji was good. Anthony was better than DeMarco Jackson. He was better. He outplayed DeMarco Jackson. Anthony Orji he's okay. Riley says, thank you, Riley. Riley says he's at Tennessee. Thank you, bro. Yeah, he was this is the thing, but it happens. I'm just letting y'all know. He is that's what happens, the political side of football. It happens. But anyway, getting into the Foskey story, like it's a good media story because people fixate on him. I wish Cesar Ruiz would get this kind of media scrutiny about his play. I wish Cesar Ruiz would get heavy media scrutiny about how inconsistent he is. He's a starter right now at guard, and this it could be a problem. I wish he would get that scrutiny. All right, so anyway, the Saints supporters have grown weary with the struggles of edge rusher Isaiah Foskey since his selection. The Saints picked him in the second round with the 40th overall pick. He struggled to see any playing time on defense, and that's not changed with a scheme change under the new head coach. His reps during the preseason have not been impressive, leading him to be on the roster bubble as of now. Saints may try to trade Foskey, but does one particular landing spot stand for him? That's a concept worth to keep an eye out on. There is literally nobody out here that is checking for Anthony Orji. No disrespect. For Isaiah Foskey. No disrespect. Yeah, you don't have to worry about Jackson after that missed tackle. Yeah, I seen that. And that's what I was saying. DeMarco Jackson played better this year, but he was a fourth round selection. That's what I'm saying. This is commonsensical. The team protects drafted players more so than undrafted guys. They want the draft picks to hit because, obvious. You selected these guys, you want them to hit, you have a higher ratio. But you releasing a second round pick, what was he, a second round pick, 40th overall pick in his third year? Then, boys, I'm just saying, dude, we talking making Loomis here. That's probably not likely going to happen. We'll see. I'm just throwing that out there. All right. So the writer says Foskey time at Notre Dame was filled with production. That's true. His college defensive coordinator was Al Golden. The current defensive coordinator for the Bengals is Al Golden. Reuniting Foskey with the coach that saw him wreak havoc on quarterbacks during his collegiate days could be a perfect move. Now, that's a good idea. For comparison on the stat sheet between Fadil Diggs and Foskey, the rookie has 1 sack in one game with New Orleans. Foskey has totaled just a sack and a half in 32 games with the Saints. He's simply been unable to get on the field whatsoever on defense. Meanwhile, Diggs has some notable standout days during training camp and played well in this first NFL game action. It's not easy. Now, getting, according to A to Z Sports, getting even a late day draft pick for the edge rusher, a late day 3 draft pick for the edge rusher would probably feel like a victory. The sort of deal with the Bengals feels like it makes a ton of sense, right? Maybe not. Why would the Bengals pass on Foskey? This is why the writer says from A to Z. There are few positions that deserve extra attention on the Bengals roster right now, such as safety and guard due to injuries and strength of talent, respectively. But I don't see defensive end as a part of that. If Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson were both not practicing, and the former specifically was really falling behind in terms of practice time and development, I could see a trade for someone like Foskey making sense. But Stewart has made great strides already and is slowly moving up the depth chart. And Hendrickson is a known commodity who expected to be signed prior to the season. I wouldn't say it's worth the Bengals giving away a draft pick for someone who may not make the roster regardless of his history with Al Golden, right? So this is interesting. Now, that's a good idea to think about reuniting him with Al Golden, his former coach. The problem is you don't have to trade the Saints to do that. All he has to do is sit back. If you guys are right in terms of the Saints are going to release Isaiah Foskey because he's not really that good. And there's other linebackers that are better than Foskey, so it makes sense to release him. So if the Saints do that, commonsensical move, release him, there's no need for the Cincinnati Bengals to trade anything. We just sit back and wait for you to release him. I'm not giving you a damn thing. I ain't giving you a half a drunk Coke, a half a eaten Snicker bar. I'm not giving you a pair of shoes I wore for 2 days. I'm not giving you nothing if I don't have to, right? If I don't have to trade you a damn thing if I don't have to, right? If this is chess not checkers, then hey man, I'm gonna sit back and wait for you to get rid of them, and then put the claim in for them. There is zero market for Isaiah Foskey to be traded, right? And like I said, we'll see how it works. Me personally, I think Isaiah Foskey ain't going nowhere. I don't think the Saints going to cut their second round 40th overall pick in the third year of the team. I think Mickey Lomas and them are going to find a way to get that guy involved in the system to justify that pick. Now, he might be struggling right now, but how many times have you guys seen players that don't belong on the team that got outplayed by other players some kind of way find their way back on the team? How many times you seen that? So all right. Anyway, I want y'all put in the comments, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. And all right, let's go here, man. Let's hit this up. Trey Hendrickson on trade rumors. Bengals have an asking price for the former defensive end. We talked about this as we segue from trade talk. We talked about Al Golden being with the Bengals. Now we segue to Trey Hendrickson, who's currently with the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson wants his paper. Now, of course, we know Trey Hendrickson started with the New Orleans Saints, drafted he showed talent the first 3 years. The fourth year, he balled out, had double-digit sacks. By that time, they already had another guy lined up for the first-round draft pick. Trey Hendrickson bolted to Cincinnati and became one of the best defensive ends in the league. So right now, but Trey's been dealing with the fact that he's feeling unappreciated. So what would it take to land a Trey Hendrickson if the Saints should the Saints be interested in bringing back or having a reunion with the guy they drafted with a third-round pick so many years ago? We'll see how it all goes, but let's delve into this article right here because this is very good. Shout out to John Sigler from the Saints Wire, dropping the scoop. He says, we got an asking price from the Bengals for pass rusher Trey Hendrickson, the former Saints draft pick who went on to earn 4 consecutive Pro Bowl nods after leaving in free agency. with the Bengals refusing to budget after months of contract talks, budge the budget, move the budget. Cincinnati has begun hearing out trade offers from interested teams, right? Now, an NFL Network's insider, Tom Pelissero, said that while the Bengals shut down trade calls earlier this year by demanding a first-round pick from a team that offered a second-rounder, they've begun to, quote, soften, end quote, on the price at Hendrickson's stalemate continues. Now, Deanna Rossini, she said the Bengals are looking for, according to the teams that have reached out. Cincinnati isn't seeking draft capital in return. They're also targeting defensive players in a potential deal, right? Now, while there haven't been any rumors of the Saints getting involved just yet, one of their division rivals have made the call. Who is it? Jordan Schultz, the NFL insider, said the Carolina Panthers have been in contact with the Bengals, as well as the Colts and the Bengals' own division rival, the Cleveland Browns. While Deanna Rossini clarified the Bengals aren't necessarily wanting a defensive end to replace Trey Hendrickson up front, so much as a young piece to help out somewhere defensively. You have to wonder if the Saints should step in here. Cam Jordan is likely playing out the final year of his contract. Carl Granderson and Chase are a fine 1-2 punch, but neither of them has shown consistent star power. Hendrickson had more sacks than all three of them combined last year. A Hendrickson to New Orleans trade would be hard to pull off for a couple of different reasons. The main thing is the price to acquire him. The Saints aren't in the position to be trading a draft pick, which could be at the top of the round next year, even if it's a second-round pick, not the first. They also don't have many young defensive players they could package in a trade. On paper, reuniting Bengals defensive coordinator Al Golden with Isaiah Foskey, a defensive end he coached at Notre Dame, might make sense. But Foskey has performed so poorly, you think that outweighs the Notre Dame connection. Maybe the Saints could offload Pete Werner, saving $1.7 million against the cap this year and $2.2 next year to get rookie draft pick Danny Stutzman in the starting lineup next to DeMario. But Werner signed an extension last summer that made him the favorite to replace DeMario once the veteran has retired in a year or two. So, ironically, paying Hendrickson the contract he wants isn't the biggest hurdle. Whether the Saints are starting Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler or another rookie draft pick, they'll have the benefit of a low-cost quarterback contract on their side. That frees up money to pay other players. They have a lot of salary cap resources tied up at the defensive end already, but not more than any other teams around the league. And Jordan's anticipated retirement will make it easier to pay Hendrickson once he's seeking. Instead, it comes down to the state of the Saints. They don't look like a good football team. It's hard to buy them as a playoff contender. They don't have any business trading assets, and investing in a 30-year-old like Hendrickson, they'll need all the draft picks they can get to reload their roster with young talent. Bringing Hendrickson back where his career began would be a great story, but at this time, it reads less like fact than fiction. So, all right, that's Sigler, who gave a really good take on it, breaking it down about Trey Hendrickson. Very interesting take on it. And the Saints, to me, it should Trey Hendrickson be a guy the Saints should consider. Even at his age, I just think, man, Trey Hendrickson, to me, man, would be a huge addition to the Saints. Bringing Trey Hendrickson back to New Orleans would be a really good story. I don't think the Saints will have a problem with that. But in the end, it would be a nice story. But then again, it might not mean a damn thing. Anyway, if we did, it could be a pipe dream. Because I don't know, man. I don't see. Because are they really looking to try to get this situation resolved? Now, usually when you start taking trade offers for the guy kind of feeling around to see what his value is, it could just be something the team is doing, just to kind of show the other guy like we're serious about moving the guy. But in the end, the Bengals don't have anything to replace Trey Hendrickson with. That's to be honest with you. So it would be a good dream to have him to come back. It would be nice for them to at least say what you want for him. But in the end, I don't think he goes anywhere. I don't think Trey comes here. I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is the Bengals going to end up paying him. That's what I think is going to end up happening. I think it will happen before the start of the season. I think Cincinnati, they're looking to have a solid year. And, you know, they had the stuff that happened with Shamar Stewart. That's out of the way. Trey Hendrickson is one of the last dominoes to fall. And I think the Bengals are posturing. I think this is saber rattling by the Bengals. I think ultimately they're going to give him his money. They're going to give him his money before the start of the NFL regular season. They're going to give him his money. Watch. All right. Anyway. All right. Other Bengals, asked two for it. Now, that's not what I heard. They're asking for 2 picks for them. They want players and picks. And that's just I think it's saber rattling by them. I don't think Trey Hendrickson go. They don't have nobody to replace him. I mean, he made multiple straight Pro Bowls. I mean, he's a player. You got to pay him. That's saber rattling by the Bengals. They're not going to get rid of Trey Hendrickson. They're going to pay him. I don't think they do a Dallas Cowboy, a Jerry Jones, where he sat up there on an interview and said that his thing's more important than winning. Where my laughing music at? Boy, I tell you, man, I got Jerry Jones is man, he looked like a vampire already. His eyes is red. You know, his skin looked like one of them Texas rattlesnake skins. And he need to just wear glasses all the time. But man, listen, for your own to sit there and tell you things more important than winning, I know. You know? And y'all in for some, y'all are definitely, y'all like y'all in trouble. Y'all are in trouble in cowboy country when the owner tell you is more important things than winning. Oh my goodness, man, man, that's terrible. But anyway, the whole thing with Parsons, I don't think the Bengals are doing what the Cowboys are doing. I think the Bengals is just doing a little saber rattling. But ultimately, Trey Hendrickson is going to get his money because they do not have a viable backup plan for Trey. They ain't got a trade lineup that would make them better without Trey than with Trey. So in the end, it's like all he wants is his money, and if we pay him, he's gonna go out there and kick ass. So we might as well pay him. I think he gets his paper before the start of the regular season. But it was a good dream while it lasted. It was a good dream while it lasted, man. Something to think about, something to just think about. But in the end, I don't think it happens at all. All right, big ups to the fam. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat as we are running this thing, man. We covered it. That's all I got for y'all today. Questions, comments, throw them in the chat. Any questions, please throw Q in front of them so I can see them and do my very best, baby, to answer them. So shout out to you guys. Hit the like button. And we've got 170 in the building. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not a sub. And share, baby. Sharing is caring in this thing, man. Share the links on social media, your social media, Facebook, Instagram. It does not matter. Take the coma with you with the rest of the diehards out there in the Who Dat Nation, baby. So anyway, let's get some talking on it. Jamaica says the Trey Hendrickson trade would make sense since Bengals don't want to be at him. It would be a good trade or no. It would be a good trade if we can find out what they want, but they're going to want draft picks and a player for Trey Hendrickson. Nobody's going to surrender that right now. The Bengals up that asking price because if you're serious about trading a player, it won't take all of that to move them. you know, and then this ain't nothing new. This has been going on over a period of time. So, yeah, this is a long thing that's been happening, and eventually somebody's got to give. And the Bengals getting ready for the season say, hey, man, we want to make a step in the AFC. We need Trey Hendrickson, our best edge rusher, to do that. And listen, another thing is Trey Hendrickson gets sacks. He gets sacks. It ain't one of these guys that's out here that's asking for money that don't deserve it. Trey Hendrickson wants to get paid his worth. He gets sacks, so pay the man. The Bengals know that. They're just being cheap. But they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be a resistance to see if they can walk him back. But if the player's standing 10 toes down and he ain't walking back and his production is there and he have the leverage economically and statistically, then you have to pay him his worth or at least walk closer to him where he is. You're right. You see, he has the leverage in the situation and he knows it. That's why I say the Bengals will end up paying him. All right. Red T says Barnes showed flashes though Foskey hasn't. Foskey hadn't seen the field enough. Like I said, it's just one of them things, man. Bourne is a little different than Foskey insofar as Bourne was a linebacker who had athletic ability, just wasn't good in dropping into coverage. He got that from the Saints, like learning to do this, because it ain't like one season you turn it on. He possessed those abilities, but whatever he was learning in the Saints defense wasn't working for him. But he had the skill set and the understanding, because remember, it was Nephi Sewell that the last time Nephi Sewell moved him off the linebacker spot and they started using him as a pass rusher. Nephi Sewell got Zach Bond for the Saints to move Zach Bond off the linebacker spot the last time before. That was the year when they finally was done with him. St. John 34 says Foskey had one move in college. Edge speed rush dude run right into blocks. All right, thank you, bro. Hemisphere says, pay that man, he wants big time. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, bro. But St. John 34, he was an edge. He had one move in college. He had a couple of moves in college that he would use. He had that little swim over move he had. He had a little push. I ain't gonna say a bull rush. He had a couple of little moves, but it was good enough to get him to the sack record for Notre Dame, bro. You know, I mean, it got him drafted as a 40th overall pick with the Saints. So if he was that bad, he was that good with that one move. Imagine how good he'd be if he earned 3 or 4 moves. Doc 54 says Q must be drinking old ground. I'm just saying, bro. I'm saying it's not that. Y'all will see. Y'all gonna see. Saint for Life says Foskey's got to go. You know, y'all gonna see, bro. Y'all gonna see. It ain't nothing new. So, he said, "Are the Bengals still asking?" Yeah, I answered that one. Anthony says we always mess up for sure trying to get some more. Duke says, yes, Q. Trey had 35 sacks, led all pass rushers. This is a no-brainer. Indeed. Total Glock said Henderson not getting paid goes against everything I thought I knew about the NFL. I thought he'd had made the highest paid. They're going to get that man his money, bro. It's not like some guy who ain't doing. He got the leverage on his side. They don't have nobody to replace him. They got to pay Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals want to make a step this year. They want to make a step. They can't make a step or do anything of work unless they have the best defensive player out there, and that's Trey Hendrickson. He gets sacks. If he's getting sacks, you got to pay the man. He might not get what he's looking for, but he's gonna get damn near close. He has the leverage. You got to pay the man. All right. The Rook 10 said, I think Ford and Stutzman ready to start. Anthony says send Jake Hayner and Brandon Cooks with Foskey. Now, who in the hell gonna take them people, bro? That's a big negatory, bro. They would laugh at you, bro, and send that back, bro. They're not Jake Hayner, Brandon Cooks, and Isaiah Foskey. Man, only thing I remember, Jake Hayner was in that last preseason game, week 1. Jake Hayner got in the game. He was made this throw. I said, okay, Jake. Jake made this throw, moving on. Yeah. And then Jake threw the pick. That was then the competition over with. All we seen after that was Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck. It's just like that. That shit came to a grind and all. If I had a break side effect, like that's what happened with him on that. All right, 504 Coach says I would trade Warner and Taysom and a pick and a heartbeat for Henderson. He's only 30 pass rushers, can be pretty good until about 36. We have a guy here that's older, that's been doing it good. Yeah, so like I said, I just don't see it happening, man. I don't see it happening. All right. All right, hold on. I'm sorry. Hemsworth said I had a feeling that Stutzman pick was to replace DeMario. He got 1 year left. I don't think they're planning on replacing Pete, especially since they just gave him some paper. Yeah, they paid him last year over Willie Gay. Y'all remember that it was between Willie Gay and Pete Werner for the money, and Mickey just said, "Oh, hold on, I'll pay Pete." Like, hold on, Mickey, let him play first. You see, you earned the kind. You just paid the man. They paid Pete Werner before they paid Elvin Kamara. like, bro, he's supposed to be a priority list. You pay your most important player. Hold on now, goddammit. It may not be my money, but I'll give it where I want to give it out, goddammit. Hold on now. Pete Werner, you first, and we'll wait for Elvin, hold on now. All right. Let's see. Let's keep this thing going. All right. I see Tasha wasn't happy about that. All right. I know, but bro, listen. Man, they ain't the only ones that knew how to finagle contracts. The Bengals, Mickey Loomis taught the rest of the league how to do that. They'll move money for Trey Hendrickson. I'm telling y'all. All right. Shout out to Tasha for being a member for 55 months. Shout out to Tasha, man. Tasha, look, it's like, oh, the cowboy. I'm in the Cowboy Nation, man. Shout out to Tasha. Shout out to all the Cowboy podcasters out there. They've been very glum about the prospects of the Dallas Cowboys this season. Your owner talking about there's more important things than winning. Yeah, you know what it is? Like making money, the type of shit that he got too much of. Man, only a rich person like Jerry Jones would say that foolishness. Goodness. Thank you, Tasha. Doc says, Q, what you been drinking? Foskey about to be driving the trolleys. Okay, bro. Okay. All right. I ain't drinking nothing, bro. I ain't drinking nothing. I got some cran grape, bro. You know what I'm saying? You see that little cran grape? That's all I got. Y'all gonna see, man. I done seen it all before Sunshine Anderson in this piece, boy. I done seen it. T Ford says, Q, I heard the Saints sent after Keenan Allen, but he didn't want to come here. I didn't hear that, bro. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that the Saints reached out to Keenan Allen. It was always a rumor that the Saints had interest in Keenan Allen and that he had interest in them. Now, he only wanted $8 million when he played for the Chargers. He waited late, and usually when that happens in that time frame where it was, these guys are not going to be making no big money like that. That's like we talk about Noah Fant. He got $8 million, on a 1-year deal. But I never heard. All I heard was rumors. I'm not saying you're wrong, T Ford, but I'm saying that's all I ever heard was the fact that they were interested in each other, but never anything else. It was never anything where the team had to go. They wanted to meet with him and all this kind of stuff because they could have went where he was at, or he could have came here. This kind of thing. So they got Gabe Davis. They checked out Gabe Davis, and they checked out some other people. They just didn't pull the trigger. All right, Byron says Cincinnati playing foolish games with Trey. Felt bad for him. He demanded a trade. Yeah, like I said, bro, he has the leverage, and I think he gets paid. Yeah, Stephanie says that's one. Bond outplayed Sewell, and he's still here. That's one. That's right, Steph. Steph, you're right. Nephi Sewell. No, hold on. They didn't cut. They didn't cut. Now listen, this one for Zach Bond. They didn't cut Zach Bond. Bond contract ran out, and he left. The Saints, and the thing was, this is the thing. This is Dennis Allen now. They wanted to resign Zach Bond, and Bond wanted to come back to New Orleans. But Zach said to them that he wanted to start, and Dennis Allen said, no, we got a backup spot for you. He went to Philly. They did not release him. You see what I'm saying? They didn't release him. Zach Bourne wanted to come back, and Dennis Allen told him that he had a backup spot for him, which is, as opposed to he could have got him under contract and said, we're going to have you to compete for it. But he told him that they didn't have a starting spot for him. I would have at least let it be in a competition with the other linebacker, not DeMario, because at that time, Pete Werner was still up and down. Pete Werner, in my estimation, wasn't a guy that I was like, hey, man, Pete Werner's this, that, and the third. Pete Werner was having difficulties staying in a full season. So, of course, you want to have insurance there if you got a guy that's repetitively hurt that you can't count on. He was the opposite of DeMario Davis in that regard, but he wanted to come back. It was Dennis Allen that told him that he did not have a starting spot. That's when he went to Philadelphia. So, yeah. But Nephi Sewell outplayed Zach Bourne, and Nephi is still on the team. Zach Bourne wanted to stay on the team. Remember, the Saints gave up 2 picks to move up to go and get Zach Bourne. And it was Dennis Allen that told him that. But he wanted to come back. He won. I remember covering that. He wanted to come back here. And that stupid idiot told him, I got a backup spot for you. He said, I want to start. You could at least say I'll give you a fair opportunity to compete with Pete Werner. I'll give you an opportunity to compete with him because it was a 1-year deal anyway. When they signed Zach Bourne, it wasn't a multi-year deal. It was like a 1-year deal or something like that. But he wanted to come back and improve himself. So it is what it is. St. John says, Q, what do you think about who you think made the Foskey pick? Oh, yeah. See, it was Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis together. Mickey Loomis will give you the thumbs up. The coach tells Mickey what the pick is. And Mickey gives them what they want. That's the thing about Mickey Loomis. He's not a guy that gets in your way. He's not a Jerry Jones type. Mickey will hire you and then disappear somewhere and let you run the team. And then he'll run a smoke screen, a cover. He'll even lie for you. He'll even lie to you to protect the guy. He'll do that. He won't get in your way. He won't demand you to do anything. And that's the problem I had with Dennis Allen, because you can't handle everybody the same way you handle Sean Payton. You can see Sean Payton has the ability to have all these moving parts and motivate, do all this stuff. But Dennis Allen is not a Sean Payton. He shouldn't have not been handled the same way. And then when he asked him what went wrong, well, what? I mean, maybe I should have supported him more. Like, what? Supported him? No, you idiot. You should have put more demands and restrictions on him. You should have had more of an on-hand approach on Dennis Allen. You should have seen that. But that's Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis, that's the good thing about Mickey Loomis at times, is that he'll hire you to run it and stay out your way. And whatever you need, he'll get it for you, even if it tear up your cap. You don't believe in that shit anyway. He'll just phantom deal you and kick the can into the future because his job security is safe. You don't have nothing to worry about. So, Mickey Loomis will do whatever if you're the head coach of the team, he'll bend over backwards for you. Like I said, he'll do all that shit. I've seen him do it. All right. But anyway, it is what it is. All right. But anyway, man, Tasha, you said, you're so messy, I'm hurting. Yeah. No, it's not. I'm saying the Cowboy, y'all know that's big stories right now. The Cowboy people up here upset and depressed right now because they know it's going to be a hard year. But that's all right. That's all right, man. It's all right. You might prove people wrong. You might actually do something else because I don't believe that. I think y'all will be a lot better than what these people talking about. Anytime you have Dak Prescott who could play football, you just got to keep him healthy. You got Pickens there with CD Lamb. You got very decent offensive line. You got good running attack. Well, it could be better, but I mean, it's a start. But you got a way to get the ball downfield. The biggest problem is the Parsons thing. You got to get Parsons under contract. There's a few other people there. They got an inexperienced coach. We got an inexperienced coach. Our guy won the championship as an offensive coordinator. This other guy is a Schottenheimer dude. We don't know what that means. He could be Clint Kubiak for all I care. He might not be Gary Kubiak. He might be Clint Kubiak. And we don't know. We don't know. A lot of people think that he hired that guy because he was cheap. And I guarantee you that's why he hired that guy, because he was cheap. But at the end of the day, you don't know what it is until the guy gets out there and performs, right? We don't know how it's going to be. He might actually do something positive. We have absolutely no idea. So right now, the most disappointing thing is when you hear the owner, who we know got at least 3 or 4 stages of dementia going on, but he's still not to count that money. This guy is a menacing, perpetual, micromanaging guy. It's just incredible micromanager suffocating of the team that goes on with this guy. You don't go out there and, even if it's true, you don't tell the supporters that there's more important things in football than winning. There was no other important thing in football. He was supposed to be talking that shit to the owners. Y'all know, telling the owners, as they take their yachts to the owners' meetings. They were doing that, driving their yachts to the owner meeting, all this kind of shit. I was like, yeah, that's a good message to send the rest of us. So y'all got so much money, y'all taking y'all yachts to the owner meeting. That's a real good optic. But you don't say that to the supporters because they don't think that way. They don't think that way at all. They don't care about you making money. You get your money if you win. That's how they see it. That's how we see it. So it is, but I think he'll be all right. I make it Q. Why? Mickey Q. Why the hell are you? Oh, hold on now, goddammit. I don't listen. I don't worry about my money. Hold on now. Stop pocket watching over there. Hold on, goddammit. All that stuff, you guys. Hold on, you pocket. Hold on, you got a bunch of saints here pocket watching. I just found out what that means. I'm like, what the hell is that? I looked it up on the computer. I say, oh, I got it. I'm trying to be more hip, Yeah, hold on, pocket watch me. God damn it. I'll do whatever I want to do with that $20 million. God damn it. I give it out to several Canadian players. How you like that, buddy? Hold on now, God damn it. But yeah, man, we gonna see what they got going on with the money, man. I don't know why they holding on to that 20 million, bro. They got 20 plus million. $20+ million they currently have. JT says Q, Ruiz is going to be traded too. Give it time, maybe when we cut down. I don't think Ruiz is going anywhere, bro. He ain't going nowhere, bro. Ruiz is not going anywhere. Ruiz is going to be there because not enough people are focusing on the fact that Ruiz is underperforming. He's a first-round draft pick that been with the Saints for 6 years? 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years of Cesar Ruiz. He should be I said this over and over. That man should be a Pro Bowl level guard in the NFL. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah. Hemisphere says Duncan said Allen didn't want to come back because the young QB room, he wanted to compete for the playoff run. I don't blame him. The Saints will be more appealing once they start winning more games. All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Said didn't want to come because of the young QB. Okay. Thank you for that. Like I said, I was when it took a long time for that information to get out. That's crazy because Keenan Allen has been signed with the Chargers for at least a couple of weeks now. So that's very interesting. I'm surprised we didn't hear that earlier because the circles was the Saints had interest and he had interest with the team. But then again, when your backup plan is to go back to the team you come from, he had a success with the Chargers, and they have a better quarterback situation. Herbert is a good quarterback, and why not go back for $8 million in a 1-year deal and play yourself into a multiple year deal if you could? So I can understand that. All right, brother Byron says, Q, which players won't make the final 53-man roster spot? I got Cedric. Cedric Wilson Jr. is one player. I don't that possible. Kevin Austin Jr., Cedric Wilson Jr. Won't make it. I have to look at the list, but Cam Akers won't make it. Probably not. Probably not Michael Jacobson, the backup tight end. A couple of the backup offensive linemen. Hopefully, I don't think Shane Lemieux makes it. I think the Saints probably keep about 4 guys as backups, maybe 3 or 4 linemen as backups, especially with the injuries to Trey to Trevor Penning. Dylan Redunce steps in there, and then you just got to kind of see what's going on. That's a lot of evaluation has to happen on that offensive line, but also it could be a thing where between the end of the last regular season game and the start of the last preseason game and the start of the regular season, Saints could be scouring the release list, because once the cut down happened, there'll be a lot of players out there that the Saints going to end up picking up at least two or 3 of those guys to add to the team, maybe 2 guys, maybe to be a couple of backup offensive linemen. That could happen. That's what I'll be looking out for. So, yeah, Duke says Zach and Trey showed DA didn't know what the hell he was doing, straight foolery. DA and blame them 2 guys. Yep. All right. Yeah, I'm saying that's a real thing, though, man. He said, I don't have Cedric Wilson Jr., Kevin Austin, Marcus Yarns. That's true. He says, my 5 wide receivers, Olavi, Shaheed, Cooks, Tipton, and Pettis. I agree with you. Running backs, A.K. Miller, Clyde Edwards, Hilaire. And yeah, I agree with that. I think that's that. I definitely give you that. All right. St. John says, man, I'm so glad that D is gone. He was the worst. Thank you, bro. English says Dallas is falling behind in that division. They got some talent, man. You never know. But that coach ain't making it easy, man, to be honest with you. I mean, that head coach. I mean, the owner. My goodness, you don't say that dumb shit. You don't tell you more important things. The best things in life aren't free. Nah, man. You don't tell them that, Well, that's a lot of other stuff. If you're a football team, that's not the message you won't go with. You don't tell the Cowboys that. All right, Jamie says, what do you think about Kellen Moore doing this job? Could be a coach. What do you think about Kellen Moore doing this job? Could be a coach. I think Kellen Moore is doing a decent job. I think he is. I think he's still fully evaluating his offensive unit. I think he's starting to see some of the stuff we talked about, like in terms of the offensive line, play needs to be more consistent. And there is definitely some concerns about the starters, how really pedestrian they look in these first 2 games, and that they're literally being outplayed by backups. So that's something I damn sure know Kellen Moore is looking at. But he's doing a decent job, man. We headed in the right direction. All right, St. John says, you need to act like you're chewing gum. I can't do that, brother. I can't do that, bro. I can't do that one. All right, English says, Moore made Mickey make that deal yesterday. No way Loomis does that on his own. All right, Trey says, thank you, Trey. Shout out to you. All right. Yeah, he says, Q, what do you think about the rookie? I like Quincy Riley. Quincy Riley had 9 tackles in the game of pass defense. Quincy Riley flied around the field, made great plays. Man, I absolutely love what that young cornerback is doing. And man, I just think that he could be ready for a larger situation. Because remember, you picked up Isaac Yiadom. They signed, a 3-year contract? He signed like a 3-year deal with the Saints, Isaac Yiadom. And then the Saints, of course, they drafted Quincy Riley. But really, Quincy Riley is that guy. We talked about Quincy Riley. He had a little injuries early on. But, man, he's been playing really well. A lot of people not talking about him. We talked about some of these other young, talented players the Saints have had. We talked about guys like Jalen Ford and Isaiah Stallbird and Chris Rump II and players that's making good plays. But very few people are talking about Quincy Riley, man. Quincy Riley is having a solid camp. And he looked good in the week 2 preseason game yesterday against the Jags. So I mean, he doing real positive, man. Shout out to Quincy Riley. What's up, student? Shout out to student, man. Aloha, my friend. Appreciate you, man, for being here. But yeah, man. I just think at the end of the day, man, we are headed in the right direction. But like I said before, I think when you look at a guy like Kellen Moore, he's doing evaluation. Kellen Moore don't know the Saints as well as you guys do, right? He just got here. He's doing some evaluating, trying to figure it out. And but man, I can tell you what, our defense, the reserves look good. We got to fix. even the starters on defense don't look good. That's why you seen the trade happen with Colin Saunders. You're like, man, what we got these guys here if they can't stop nobody? We need guys to stop people. We can't have them to push us through that. That's the Jaguars of all people. No disrespect to the Jags, but how are we letting the Jags move the ball on us like they're the Kansas City Chiefs or somebody? Oh no, we got to stop that. You can't do that. So I mean, we got to dig in and make this thing. We got to dig in and get this stuff fixed. We got one more preseason matchup left against Denver Broncos. Sean Payton coming to town. His team is undefeated. Saints have another week and to get this team to find the best talent they could to iron out all the wrinkles before the regular season. We about 2 weeks before the regular season. Is that right, fam? We got another 2 weeks before the Saints' first regular season matchup in the Dome against the Arizona Cardinals. And we got to have this stuff ironed out, man, or, have it figured out, especially offensive, defensive line. You're not going to win many games if your offensive, defensive line can't run the ball, protect anybody, or the defense can't stop the run. You're not going to do too much in the NFL. That's the top thing right there. All right. So anyway, man, let me get ready to leave. Hold on, fam. Let me look up something right quick. Let's see here. Hold on. I just got a little alert here. Let me verify it. All right. So anyway, yeah, man, we're gonna see what's going on. I was doing a little sweep more for Trey Hendrickson. They saying I had got a alert saying Trey Hendrickson that they were close on dollars. So I mean, we'll see how it all end up. But like I said, I don't think they end up getting rid of the guy. Man, I think the guy is too important to what they got going on, and they don't have anybody to replace him. That's just what I think, my opinion. All right, so anyway, with that being said, man, we're going to get ready to get on up out of here, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all. We'll be back tomorrow on Patreon. We'll do the film study for the matchup against the Jaguars tomorrow. We'll take a look at everything, all of the stuff on our Patreon channel. So if you want to do that, you can join us, become a member on the channel YouTube, or you can go over to patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. I will be firing up the On Q with Big Q show. I had got some messages over there about doing more topics. So I'm going to start covering a lot of the trending topics over on Q with Big Q that you can only get by being on Patreon. So we got I don't know how many pieces of content over there. We got all kind of stuff, all the old shows from On Q with Big Q, all kind of Saint stuff over there. I mean, literally dozens of I don't know, at least 100 plus, 150 to 200 something shows of a lot of content that we've been doing, man, for a long time at Patreon. So anyway, with that being said, we got one more question from Hemisphere. There y'all go. There you go. Ask more questions to keep them here 2 more hours. All right. Yeah, y'all slick, man. Y'all are something else, man. Quick. All right. Hemisphere says, Q, do you want to see Shuck or Rattler play all game or have Hainer play a half? I would rather see Shuck and Rattler play all game than watch Hainer don't have it, bro. Hainer was moving. Y'all remember that series? It was in the first preseason game. Hainer got in there. Hainer was. I said, look at Hainer. Hainer making a throw. The next thing you know, pick six. Drew interception. I was like, there it is. Grinded to a halt. All his shit grinded to a halt right there. And then after that, it was simply all about Shuck and Rattler. That's what. Hold on, that reminds me. Hold on, family. Hold on for a second. Let me bring up the poll question that I posted. For the family members, it's not a poll per se in the show, but it was one that I posted via the platform post section, the community section. Where I kind of asked the family members the question of this. Let me see if I can share it with y'all. There you go. And the poll question is showing this. It's saying that who will win the QB1? Who will win QB1 for the season opener? As you can see, the poll question so far, out of all those 223 people voted on the poll, shout out to you guys, has Spencer Rattler. 85% of them got the Rat Man. are going to be the QB1 for the season opener, Tyler Shuck, is 15%. So that's the feeling right now at the end of 2 weeks of preseason play. So that's some of the stuff that we've seen. And that is basically almost mirrors, fam, literally almost mirrors what we had for the poll question the other day. And the end of the stream was, who do you guys like? It's like 80 something percent, 85, 86, it's something almost similar to this poll. But that's where it is now. It's not, we don't know who's going to lead the one. So that's the big thing, right? If you can get the ones to look good, the job is yours. That's what it comes down, because it just shows you that anybody can win with the twos, whether it's Tyler or Spencer. They're handling business with the twos. But when it comes down to the ones, I mean, if they can win with the ones, like drive the ball, get a touchdown with the ones, we're like, damn, that's what it's coming down to. Isn't that terrible? But anyway, it is what it is, right? Yeah, he doesn't need to play, does he? Yeah, we done seen enough. We done seen enough of Jake Hainer. Let's just keep it real. All right, Desi said, hey, make that 86%. I got you, Desi. That's what we talking about. Yeah. So in the end, man, we're going to be all right, man, in terms of that. It's just getting either Spencer Rattler opening up the season, like I said, and I don't want to diminish the accomplishment of winning the job on day one, a season opener. But remember, it is not, the difficulty level is a lot higher to keep the job than to win it, right? You win it, you get, okay, you the opening starting quarterback, QB1, opening up the regular season. Now that's when it happens where you got to play at a high level to keep the guy on the bench. So you win the job is easier compared to that. That's the difficulty. Spencer being named starting quarterback, that's one thing. Keeping it is a whole nother thing altogether. So you're going to see how it works, man. We're going to be okay with that. 504, does Taysom come back this year? I think he does. All indications saying Taysom should come back maybe toward the middle of the year. He'll come back, and they're going to take their time with Taysom, but they're saying he's doing pretty good. So we'll see what that is. I don't know what Foster is. Foster may be closer to the start of the season. We'll just have to stay tuned and see what the updates are on that. All right, so with that being said, fab, listen, I appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Do me a service, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed, Facebook, Instagram, X, it don't matter. Take this coma with you. We up in this thing. I'll be back tomorrow on Patreon to do the film study and cover all the latest stuff. Of course, the Saints have a press conference tomorrow as training camp continues. On Tuesday, we'll talk about all that on our Patreon show. With that being said, I'm out. Much love to the fam, man. Y'all have a good night. Much love. Peace. See you later.
Like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Say they gon' beat them Saints. Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out